In today's video, we have a three-way figure battle for Marvel Legends supremacy. Spider-Man animated retro carded Lizard, Legends 20th Anniversary Toad, and Fantastic Four retro carded Firelord. Firelord is the latest figure in the expanding Fantastic Four retro carded line, which pays homage to the Toy Biz line of the 1990s. On the back of the card, we get a nice animated style illustration of the character, and a brief write-up in different languages. The Lizard is the newest figure in the Spider-Man animated retro carded wave, which again pays tribute to the old Spider-Man animated series of the 1990s. Surprisingly, this figure was released in many other parts of the globe before it was released in the US. That's because in the US, this figure was a Walmart exclusive. And it seems that Walmart does not ship stock early. When they have a release date for a figure, they ship it on the release date. And you can tell this is a Walmart exclusive because the card back is crushed and mangled on the right-facing side. If this were an Amazon exclusive, the card back would be crushed and mangled on the left-facing side. That's how you can tell them apart. That's a pro tip for you. On the back of the card, just like the Fantastic Four Firelord card, we get a nice animated shot of the Lizard and a small write-up in different languages. The Toad is part of the Marvel Legends 20th Anniversary wave, which pays tribute to the original Toy Biz Marvel Legends of 2002. That first wave included the Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America, and, for some reason, the Toad. On the back of the card, we get a shot of the figure and the display backdrop that's included with this release, as well as a small write-up about the first wave of Marvel Legends from 20 years ago. Firelord, aka Pirius Krill, made his first appearance in Thor number 225 in July 1974. Pirius Krill heralded from the planet Xandar and was a member of the fabled Nova Corps. He was the third of Galactus' heralds to appear in the comics. He was preceded by the Silver Surfer and Airwalker, and succeeded by Terrax the Tamer. Together, those first four heralds from the comics represented the four natural elements of earth, air, fire, and water. Pirius Krill was serving as second in command of a Xandarian starship with his friend and captain Gabriel Lan. The planet-devouring Galactus kidnapped Gabriel Lan and transformed him into the Airwalker. Pirius then took command of the ship and obsessively searched the galaxy for his missing captain. When he finally found Galactus, he demanded to know the fate of his friend. Galactus made a deal with Pirius. He would give him the information he was seeking if Pirius agreed to become his newest herald. Pirius agreed and was transformed into Firelord. It was only then that Galactus revealed that Gabriel Lan was in fact dead. Dick move, Galactus. Real dick move. As with many of Galactus' heralds, Firelord eventually broke free of servitude and went about traveling the galaxy and having adventures. Firelord was imbued with the power cosmic by Galactus, which gives him control over the cosmic flame. This gives him enhanced strength, durability, reflexes, the ability to travel unaided through space. He can travel at the speed of light and control the electromagnetic spectrum. Firelord will pop up occasionally, especially when there's a cosmic event happening, like the 2006 cosmic crossover Annihilation. This figure is pretty light on accessories. He only comes with 2 sets of hands, a set of grasping hands, and a set of fist hands. Nothing fancy. And of course his Cosmic Flame staff that he has with him at all times. I'm not sure exactly what buck this is. I'm sure it's a reuse of another figure. The only details on this body are the paint. So with a new paint scheme and a new head, this buck could become any number of figures. He does have double jointed elbows and knees, but they are pinned, and all the other usual articulations in the waist, abdomen, hips. There's a thigh cut on this one, and a bicep swivel. Nice paint scheme, very bright, especially the orange. This looks to be the same color orange that we saw on the Tigra figure that was released last year, who was also very orange. I do like the head sculpt, and the flames on his head are translucent, so that has a nice look to it. Other than that, there's not much to say about Firelord. He is pretty basic. The Lizard made his first appearance in The Amazing Spider-Man #6 back in 1963. The brilliant geneticist Dr. Curt Connors attempted to combine human and lizard DNA to create a formula that would regrow his missing arm, since certain lizards have the ability to regrow their limbs. After testing the formula on himself, he did indeed regrow his missing arm, but then was completely transformed into a human-lizard hybrid. The Lizard is a cautionary tale of scientists meddling in things that they should not, as we've seen many times before, with the Invisible Man, the Fly, Swamp Thing, and so many others. The Lizard has been one of Spider-Man's most popular and persistent foes over the years, with Dr. Connors transforming and battling Spider-Man dozens of times across all of his various comic book series. The Lizard is probably one of Spider-Man's most recognized villains. He was only one of 2 Marvel supervillains to make an appearance in the World's Greatest Superheroes line from Mego in the 1970s. And he has appeared in every Spider-Man animated series through the years except for Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, although he did appear in the adjacent 1981 Spider-Man animated series. His most memorable animated appearance for me was back in the 1967 cartoon, where he had quite a ridiculous transformation sequence. In live action, Dr. Curt Connors was played by Dylan Baker in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, although he did not transform into the Lizard. That was apparently part of the plan if Raimi had made Spider-Man 4, but after Raimi left the project, Sony canceled Spider-Man 4 and rebooted the series with The Amazing Spider-Man, where the Lizard did finally make his first live-action appearance in 2012, played by Rhys Ifans. This Marvel Legends version of the Lizard is based on his classic look, which was also the old Mego figure, the white lab coat, black shirt, and purple pants. Marvel often gave purple clothing to green characters, as they are complementary colors. The Incredible Hulk, the Green Goblin, etc. He has one alternate head, which is more lizard-like, with the protruding tongue and yellow eyes. This head is sort of a more animated look. And he has several different hands, open hands for both right and left, a grasping hand for the left, and a fist for the right. And he also has 2 beakers of fluid, one presumably the Lizard formula, with the other one being the cure. Of course, there's no way to transform him back into Curt Connors, so you'll just have to pretend that you cured him. The figure itself has all the usual articulation, with double-jointed knees and elbows, all pinless, so it's a nice clean look. He's got waist, ab crunch, ankle articulation, where they pivot a little bit back and forth. Of course, the hips, and the tail just snaps onto a peg in the back, and it is a bendable wire tail. It's a bit thick, so you can't get that much posability out of it, but it is good for holding dynamic poses. You can balance him with use of the tail. The old Mego figure was one of my favorite toys when I was a kid, so I do appreciate this classic look on the Marvel Legends figure. The Toad, aka Mortimer Toynbee, made his first appearance in the X-Men #4, 1964, in the original Stan Lee and Jack Kirby run of the title. He was one of the original members of Magneto's Brotherhood of Mutants, which also included Mastermind, the Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver. The Toad's appearance and age have changed drastically over the years, from comic to comic, depending on which artist is drawing him at the time. The Toad has a wide array of disturbing abilities. He has great leg strength, which allows him to leap long distances, a prehensile tongue, as you can see in this alternate head, and the ability to generate several different secretions from his body, including a psychoactive venom, a paralyzing mucus, and an adhesive. Eek. He is also an expert kickboxer, mechanic, and machinist. The Toad's most notable animated appearances came in the Pride of the X-Men pilot, where he was voiced by Frank Welker. And he was one of the main recurring characters in the animated series X-Men Evolution. His most notable live-action appearance was in the first X-Men film in 2000, where he was portrayed by actor, stuntman, and martial artist Ray Park. In that film, he was the subject of one of the most ridiculous lines of dialogue we've ever heard in a superhero film.
Do you know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning? The same thing that happens to everything else.
Apparently that was a callback to an earlier scene in the film which was cut from the final product. So out of context, it made really no sense. The Toad is a bit smaller than most Marvel Legends figures. I do really like the sculpt on him though, especially that maniacal face sculpt. He comes with the one alternate head with the giant prehensile tongue sticking out of it, and he has an alternate set of fist hands. For articulation, he does have the usual double-jointed knees and elbows, although the elbows are pinned where the knees are pinless. That seems a strange choice. Maybe these arms are a reuse of another buck. He does have a little bit of an ab crunch, but no waist articulation. Bicep swivel, thigh cut, and he does have some drop hip articulation, I guess, so you could get him easier into more agile leaping poses. The frills on his gloves and boots are separate pieces. The frills on the ankles stay in place really well, but because you can switch out the hands, these aren't very tight on the wrists, so they will spin around a little bit. Not a big deal. The original Toy Biz Marvel Legends figures were packed in with a comic. These 20th anniversary figures do not come with a comic. Instead, they come with a figure stand and a two-sided cardboard backdrop. One side represents the comic that the original figures came with, while the other side is this swamp scene. And he also comes with this little pet toad, because one of his other powers that I forgot to mention is his ability to communicate with amphibians. Not sure how useful that would be in a pitched battle with Wolverine, but there you go. So now we have to pick a winner, and I have a confession to make. The outcome of this battle was predetermined. I love one of these figures much more than the other two, due to the fact that I had his original toy in my childhood collection. So the winner of this battle is, obviously, the Lizard. Obviously, if this were a real Marvel battle, Firelord would have just incinerated the other two. That is, if the Toad hadn't just run away first. But in my figure fight, the Lizard is the clear winner. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.